AXIM Fringe Solutions, we would like to thank you for watching its Compliance Essentials video, where we review our own personal recipe for success with the complicated fringe reporting that comes with winning a government contract. Because if you've ever been responsible for that compliance reporting before, you're well aware of just how complicated it can be, beginning with that there's no two contracts that are the same, and the Department of Labor doesn't give you a whole lot of help in understanding exactly what they want. Then you get the joy of reporting by every employee by hour and by benefit, and understanding what happens when things like people changing jobs, therefore switching labor categories, or the wage determination changes, or even the place where the job is being performed changes, and how all of those things can affect how you compensate your employees. And just in case that didn't sound so bad to you, multiply all of those complications by every employee, both current and former, in the previous 2 years, because that's what the Department of Labor expects you to be correct and liable for. Which may not be so bad if there wasn't so much at stake. One employee phone call to the Department of Labor could lead to an audit, and an audit could lead to having your contract terminated, getting kicked out of government contracting for 3 years, or if you're lucky, just having to pay back pay, fines, or be suspended, which is where you have to keep working on the contract but the government refuses to pay you. In short, there is no greater threat to your government contracting revenue than noncompliance. Now, before we talk about avoiding that situation, a brief word on why we're qualified to do so. AXIM is a government contractor specializing in compliance who has been audited by the Department of Labor 190 times without a single violation. We believe in our compliance reporting so much that we guarantee our compliance or we'll pay the fine. And the 3 most common mistakes we find in contractors' compliance reporting is first, misunderstanding the contract and how it's supposed to be compensated from the very start. Second is not keeping up with the rate and rule changes that come from the Department of Labor on a semi-regular basis. And third, not accounting for the different adjustments from the insurance company and other things along the way. Now let's take a deeper dive into each one of these pitfalls. You should always begin by assessing every contract as its own entity and not rely on your knowledge of past, present, or future contracts to guide how you perform on this one. Every one of them is different, and as our compliance experts say, the devil is in the details. When unclear, reach out to your contract agency or officer to get clarification, or at worst, be able to prove that you tried, which in and of itself can be valuable. And while starting off on the right foot is very important, you need to recognize that government contracts change and you are responsible for those changes. The fringe rate changes at the mid-year, and as to when you update your contracts, it's up to your agency or officer as to when, and it's something else you should probably reach out about. You also need to stay on top of any new government regulations for compensation reporting or anything related to them. The government will not accept "I didn't know" as a valid excuse for you shorting a worker of their pay. Lastly, just because you did your compliance doesn't necessarily mean that it's done. Changes in employee hours, classifications, insurance carrier rates, or a number of other factors means you need to recalculate your fringe reporting. Remember that going back and fixing things is always okay by the government because it shows that you were trying to do right by the employees. What they won't accept is, "My reporting was correct at the time." And finally, we want to share exactly how we go about avoiding those pitfalls. It begins with risk assessment on the actual contract, like we discussed, understanding the details. Then we educate our staff, contractors, and anyone else involved as to the expectations of the contract. Perform casual review where we pull a sample of the compliance reporting and make sure it's correct to see that the machine's working correctly, as well as an in-depth review on a bi-yearly or yearly basis to know that it's truly correct. If there are mistakes along the way, not only do we correct them, but we have proof that we correct them, because the government understands that compliance reporting is truly hard, and if they see you're trying your best to perform it, and give you a lot of credit when you make a small mistake. But if you're looking for a simpler and less expensive way to get that same assurance, you might want to consider subcontracting with AXIM, who guarantees their DOL compliance reporting and provides an online portal for you and your employees to look up your fringe benefit information. On behalf of everyone here at AXIM, we'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you have any questions about compliance or anything we discussed, don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you again for your time, and the best of luck to you.